Hey everybody, Tim Dwyer here from South Australia once again. Well, it is just getting crazy out there, it really is. And the opinions are flying thick and fast, and people have come up with all sorts of good theories, crazy theories, whatever, about what's going on with this election. I just want to be very, very clear with what I'm about to go through here. I'm going to put up two arguments, which is really only one argument. Is it worth voting? And is voting lawful? And you've got to understand there's a difference between lawful and legal. Legal, by definition, is the undoing of God's law. So let's not go down that path, shall we? Let's have a look. I'll bring up my PowerPoint. I'll bring this up. Let me open this up and let me open that up. Oops. Okay. Good and decent people of Australia. These are your lands. This is your home, your future. And it is my opinion that it has been stolen by unprincipled, deceitful, low-life men and women. In actual fact, they go by the term the honourables. So, moving along. These are some questions that need to be asked and answered by you. Only you can answer these questions. First, is it worth voting? Secondly, what has 50 years of the two-party preferred voting got us? Think about it. Regardless of the results of state and federal elections over the past 50 years, has your life become easier, happier, less stressful, more profitable in real value, not inflated numbers because your dollar is not worth much anymore? And is Australia a better place now than 30 to 40 years ago? Is it better to live here now? Is it safer to live here now? Is it more prosperous to live here now? Is it easier to live here now? These are the questions you have to answer. You see, our debt, the Australian debt, is now over $1 trillion. The buying power of your money is collapsing in front of your eyes. The unbridled assault on your culture with millions of migrants who have nothing in common with you or I and are being given all manner of financial benefits that you and I can't get. Foreign ownership of your power, your gas supply, your rail systems, foreign-owned banking, foreign-owned hospitals, foreign-owned farming lands, mining, your lands titles office are foreign-owned, grain handling is foreign-owned, shipping ports are foreign-owned, just to mention a few. Destruction of the manufacturing industry, of our cars, trucks, trains, ships, farm machineries, TV, fridges, and clothes, and the list goes on and on and on. Is our life better? Doctors that you can't understand, healthcare workers that you can't understand, and truck drivers that can't read English. And every major road and highway is falling apart and dangerous. 50 years of voting Liberal and Labor. Now, this is more than interesting. Every town and city you enter into, you're under surveillance. Every freeway you travel on, you are under surveillance. Every shopping centre you visit, you are under surveillance. And by surveillance, I mean facial recognition. They recognise the way you walk, the way you carry yourself. The whole lot is under surveillance. Every hospital you enter into, you are under surveillance. And we still think and say that we're free. And is there such a thing as privacy? We've got an e-safety commissioner. They're trying to get the private. Look, it's just nuts. Are you free if you're under this much surveillance? Think about it. And we must also never forget, it was never safe. It was never effective. Take it or lose your job. Take it or lose your house. Take it or lose your business. This was Liberal and Labor when they played together. And unfortunately, they knew the end result. They knew what was going to happen. Every single one of them, they knew. These are not your friends. Is your life better now since you were forced into that process? That is not free consent. That is threat and coercion. And don't forget, Liberal and Labor played together on that one, as they do always. The amount of government overreach on all industry is financially devastating and limiting. Just got to look at what the reporting the farmers have to do, how much chemical they use, how much superphosphate or whatever fertilizer it is they're using, how much diesel they use, how many parts they buy for their machinery. Everything has to be reported. In building, all the materials has to be reported to the government, to your overlords. Foreign bodies such as the United Nations, the World Economic Forum, and the World Health Organization are controlling the Australian governments from what they call local government to the parliaments of both state and federal. Oh, Tim, that can't be right. Well, I've got a rough idea that when the federal government want to put some money into something like several $1 billion under the United Nations, they have to borrow that money from the banking masters, and then you and I are stuck paying the interest. We can't pay for it out of our own pockets. It has to be borrowed because Australia is part of the United Nations. That's the debt rack. It just keeps going and going and going. Next question. When was the last time any sitting member of state or federal corporate government responded to your inquiry, demand, or written protest? When did they reply? Not with a form letter, but when did they actually reply? Well, when was it? Oh, so taxation without representation. I see. Let's have a look at this one. In 1988, the referendum, a proposed law to alter the Constitution to recognise local government. Do you approve of this proposed alteration? The proposal was to add a new provision to the Constitution as follows. Each state shall provide for the establishment and continuance of a system of local government, with local government bodies elected in accordance with the laws of the state and empowered to administer and to make laws for the respective areas in accordance with the laws of the state. Now, we already had councils, but they wanted the establishment and then the continuance of a system of local government. The population said no. The population said no. New South Wales said no, 68%. Victoria said 64%. Queensland said 61.5%. South Australia, 70% said no. Western Australia, 70% no. Tasmania, 72.5% said no. Even the ACT got in on the game and said no. And the Northern Territory, 61% said no. No. The vote against was no. Resoundingly no. But let the government not listen to the people. In total violation of the referendum, with zero regard for the will of the people, the dishonourable Bob Hawke, who is in actual fact a traitor, introduced the Local Government Act in 1989. What part of no did they not understand? Now, if they were a legitimate government, they must obey the people. According to Section 128 anyway. But let's move on. The voice to Parliament. The Australian Indigenous Voice Referendum. 60% across the board averaged no. Here in South Australia, red line here, right? Here we go. Have a good look at this. The Voice, 64% said no. 35% said yes. In actual fact, the ACT They're the only place that said yes because they're full of public servants, right? But here in South Australia, you've got to get this right. 64% said no. But that didn't stop this worm, Melanascus, and Her Excellency, the Governor, from sitting there and introducing, against the will of the people, against the referendum, the Labor Premier signs the voice to Parliament in South Australia. They don't listen to we the people. So why should we vote for them? Either way, my argument is, do you think this is right that politicians should ignore the will of the people? Next question. Is the election lawful under our primary law, which is the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1900 UK, under the Great Seal, the non-copyright version? Right, now let's have a little look at this. In the context of communication and deception, maximum deception. Now, so we're talking about a maximum law here, refers to the strategic violation or manipulation of the Gracian maxims to mislead or deceive someone, often by appearing to follow the maxims while subtly deviating from them. Let's have a look at what the Bible says about this. What does the Bible say about deceit? It's very clear in the Bible that deceit is an act that God hates. There are 6 things that the Lord hates, 7 that are an abomination to him: haughty eyes, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood. Remember, it wasn't safe and it wasn't effective. A heart that deceives or devises, wicked plans, feet that make haste to run to evil, a false witness who breathes out lies, and one who sows discord amongst his brothers. Proverbs 6, 16, 19. Psalms 107, his mouth is full of lies and threats. Trouble and evil are under his tongue. Psalm 36, 3. The words of their mouths are wicked and deceitful. They fail to act wisely or to do good. Haven't we seen a lot of that in the last 50 years? Moving right along. In our Constitution Act, we're looking for where the power is. The legislature. The legislative power of the Commonwealth shall be vested in the federal parliament, which shall consist of the Queen, the lady with the crown on her head, not the watery tart out of Lake Burley Griffin from Gough Whitlam, a Senate and a House of Representatives, and which is hereinafter called the Parliament, or the Parliament of the Commonwealth, not the Parliament of Australia. What did we say about deception and deceit? Think about it. You're going to the polls to vote. You see, the Parliament of Australia is both, it's fraudulent and it's deceitful. They know it, and still they profess it. And they stand there and call themselves the honourable. You're going to vote for them one way or the other, or not. Operation of the Constitution and laws. The Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act. This act and all laws made by the Parliament of the Commonwealth under the Constitution shall be binding on the courts, judges, and the people of every state and every part of the Commonwealth. Except our courts are no longer Chapter 3 courts. The people sitting there on the bench pretending to be judges and magistrates are deceitful. They are deceiving you. But don't worry, you know, Liberal, Labor, vote for this one, vote for that one, we'll fix it this time. The executive government. Now, the executive government are part of those who get voted in, right? The executive power of the Commonwealth is vested in the Queen and is exercisable by the Governor-General and the Queen's representative. Now, we haven't had a Queen's representative or a King's representative in this country since 1960. I'm not sure whether that's deceitful, dishonest, or fraudulent, but it's one or the other. and extends to the execution and maintenance of this Constitution and the laws of the Commonwealth. You get it? Let's have a look at this. Like, we got to work this bit out. Without referendum, without permission, and done by deception. The Statute Law Revision Act of 1973, the Acts Interpretation Act as amended by the Acts Interpretation Act 1973. Now, remember, there was no referendum on this. The government had no permission to do this. Gough Whitlam and his crew did it with the stroke of a pen under the cover of darkness and covered it up so as you would not know it. That is deception. That is a fraud. Omit from paragraph P, governed, and insert administered. Hang on. What? Yep. We are no longer governed under the corporate government. We are under administration. That's why they don't listen. That's why they don't care. Right? That's why they don't care. Omit from paragraph E of the Commonwealth. Omit from paragraph 2B of the Commonwealth. But we are in administration. Do you get it? Deception. No lawful act can be made through deception. No lawful process can carry any deception. Statute Law Revision Act 1973, Australian Capital Territory. You've seen me go through this before. The Chief Electoral Officer for the Commonwealth, right? So omit the Chief Electoral Officer of the Commonwealth and insert Chief Australian Electoral Officer. Done by the stroke of a pen, without authority, without permission, done by deception. And you think for 1 minute you're going to vote these people out? Good luck. The Crimes Act, as amended by the Crimes Act 1973, continue section 5, omit from paragraph 1 the Great Seal of the Commonwealth and insert the Great Seal of Australia. They had no authority whatsoever to take the Great Seal of the Commonwealth out and put their own seal in. None. They did it by deception. Pure, unadulterated deception. Things that God hates. Oh, where are all the good Christian pastors now? Oh, they're off voting. Where are all the good Christians standing up saying, no, this was done by deception? God hates deception. I don't know. You see, this was the Great Seal of Queen Victoria. This is the letters patent that created the office of the Governor-General to act on behalf of Queen Victoria. This was the Great Seal of Queen Elizabeth that she had there, and this was what replaced that in 1973, the previous Great Seal of Australia, which was the first authorised for use by royal warrant bullshit in 1973. The Queen of Australia, there is no such thing. That is a legal, fictitious entity created by the pen of Gough Whitlam. There was no referendum on any of this stuff. And yet it changed everything about Australia. And now, without permission and done by deception, they've given a new seal with not even a reference to a crown or a monarch. It's just got the rat and the chook on it. This is the new Great Seal of the loony left, brought to you by the Albanese Communist Republican Party. And this is what is being used to call an election. It is being sealed with this seal. Do you get it? The Governor-General woman thing that says that she has authority, which she doesn't, is using this as a seal to create the election and to stamp the result of the election. It is a fraud and deception. And I got this a long time ago I wrote to the National Archives, Queen Victoria's letters patent establishing the office of the Governor-General of the Commonwealth of Australia can be found in the website of the Museum of Australian Democracy. Oh, they put it in a museum. There's also a transcript there. The document was kept in the office of the Governor-General, which it should be, until transferred to the National Archives in 1977. Wow. As for any Hansard entry explaining the reason for it being archived, you would need to either use Hansard search function on the website, blah, 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 William Edwards, right? So there they are telling us, the archives, that the letters patent was taken out of the Governor-General's office in 77. You got to wonder, don't you? You just got to wonder. I'd call that fraud and deception. Next question. Do you understand that it is mathematically impossible to vote a minor party into power within the Australian Electoral Commission's process? You do understand that, don't you? You do, don't you? You live in hope, but it's mathematically impossible. So let's have a look. From 25 to 2000, 1925 to 2025, here's 100 years. Liberal, Labor, Liberal, Labor, Liberal, Labor, Liberal, Labor, Liberal, Labor, Liberal. Like, think about this, people. Please. This is what a cartel looks like. You think you got a choice. You're told you have a choice. But the wheel just goes round and round, round and round. We'll get them next time. We'll be better next time. We're the ones that you can trust. We'll fix it. Keep the bastards honest. What a look. Get over it. This thing is so broken and so corrupt, you can't vote your way through it. You see, I got my scorpions there, and these three will destroy your freedoms and enslave us for the next 50 years, if you let them. You know the story about the scorpion and the frog, and if you haven't, go back and you'll find my video. But scorpions, all they do is lie and poison you. Lies and poison, lies and poison, lies and poison. All three of them full of lies and poisons. These two, Elbow and Potato Head, lifetime public servants, multi-millionaires. Nothing to see here. Trust us. We're the good guys, said the honourables. These are just front men. These are the faces to distract you. All that goes on behind in the party rooms are done by people that you don't know, that you don't vote for, but these people are told what to do and what to say. You think you're voting for the personalities of these two here. No, they haven't had an original thought in decades. And this bloke here, Brandt, tell you what, he's as dangerous as two scorpions. He really is. The reformation of the Australian constitutional government has to come. It has to come. Because what we have at the moment is neither constitutional nor Australian. As you know, I'm running this seminar on Saturday the 26th in Elizabeth in South Australia, and I've had a heap of crap from people who are saying, well, you know, if you only got 100 odd seats, you're not going to make much difference. Well, let me tell you this. We are making a difference. And yes, there will only be 100 seats here, and there'll probably only be about 100 seats at the next one as well. We had 60 odd in Colac the other night. And but what we're getting out of that is some real quality stand-up people who aren't full of rubbish standing behind their computer screens. They're out having a go. They really are. And then the third one we do, that will be live streamed right across Australia. So yes, we will make a difference. This will make a difference. Coming to you very soon, if not stopped. The Communist Chinese flag hanging over what's called Parliament House. You can't vote it out. You've got to stop it. No matter what you do with your vote, you can't vote it out. So There we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, vote whichever way you feel you think you're going to get the best result. Me, I have no shares in the Liberal Party. I have no shares in the Labor Party. I have no shares in the Commonwealth of Australian Government. I have no shares in the Australian Electoral Commission. I have no shares in the Greens. And as I am not a shareholder in any of those corporations, I will not, A, make an unlawful vote, and B, I will not commit treason against my country. I will not. I will stand if I have to stand alone. I will not commit treason against my country. Ladies and gentlemen, you have yourselves a great day. I will speak to you all a little bit later. Good luck.